Good morning, everyone. We're here with Max Strycker and Catherine Reeves from the RSI Purchasing Department. Thanks, you guys, for coming in this morning. This is going to be a good, informative session for us. Good morning, Max. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Right on. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good.
Nice, nice. You know, with everything that's going on with COVID, I think what would be most interesting for our clients and as well as for our industry colleagues is to learn a little bit about what changes we've seen or even what our vendors have seen since COVID had started in March, as far as just the trends go. And I know that's a really broad-based question, but let's narrow it into the spending habits for the restaurants. I mean, obviously they have less sales. Max, what have you seen from a spending perspective from the restaurants? Are they changing? Are they going to, let's say, a Restaurant Depot over a Cisco? What general things? Let's start there and work our way in.
I mean, with the first 3 months of the year, our clients, globally, were spending about $900,000 a month on disposables and to-go supplies and things like that. Looking at May, June, July, those numbers have gone up to like 1.8 million. So the spend on disposable items has nearly doubled. For the same time period, and that's even with a lot of restaurants facing lower sales numbers and stuff, and it even spiked that much.
Kat, when you're working with our clients, is with regards to disposables, what kind of things are they bringing up to you as far as either programs that we can put in place or what they're going through? What things can you infer from your conversations with them?
It's rough out there, The supply and demand of the disposables are crazy, so you see these huge price surges. Can't get what they need a lot of times, and just really in the trenches, we're in there with them. We're fighting to find every penny we can. They're like, "Hey, do you have a program for this? Do you have a program for that?" We're like, "We're working on it. Yes, So it's becoming more important now than ever, to have us as a partner that can find those savings.
Kat, I think you raise a really, really good point. Let's take a step back real quick. Max, what's the overall swath of programs that we have for our clients? What do they encompass? Let's give a general perception of what the RSI purchasing program is. First of all, let's clarify. We are not a GBO, right?
Correct. And what really sets us apart in that respect, Matt, is the fact that we're not monetizing this. So many there are plenty of buying groups out there, but all of them will, let's say there's a $2 a case rebate available on something, they'll keep $1 for themselves and only give the client $1. We're their accountants. We're using it purely as a retention tool, just with the idea that if we can be the best partners we can for our clients and help keep them in business and flow more to their bottom line, they're going to stick with us.
That's a good point, Kat. When you're speaking with clients, how hard is it sometimes to get it across to them what the purpose of this program is when you're telling them that it doesn't cost them anything?
Once we kind of grab their attention and they take a listen to what we're up to, it's smooth sailing from then on. Once we can qualify that they're not already getting any manufacturer rebates on the food side, away we go. And then we talk about what non-food programs we have in place that can really help them as well.
Let's take a step back. Let's talk about manufactured rebates and how that differs from just buying products in bulk. Max, why don't you describe the difference between a manufacturer rebate program and what it takes for our clients to take advantage of that?
So because we didn't want to pigeonhole our clients into, you can only use this distributor, we wanted to remain distributor agnostic.
Yep.
So it's as long as a client is purchasing from a distributor that we can get their purchase history from, they can qualify. So as they make their purchases, we're getting data on the back end that anything that has a program tied out to it gets flagged, and then quarterly we invoice all the manufacturers for the previous for the purchases from the previous quarter. And usually it's about 60 or so days by after the end of that quarter that we'll send out a full reconciliation report for our clients,
Mhm.
along with credits against their RSI fees.
So, Kat, would it be fair to say that a manufactured rebate program, to do this, we have to normalize all of, let's say, the chicken wings that our clients buy? We have to normalize those, and then you guys send that information up to the large aggregators who then make manufactured deals. Those deals then are applied directly to the purchased products for our clients. So, for example, if I'm buying Tyson chicken wings and we have a program for Purdue, let's say, if a client switches to that Purdue chicken wing, but they're still using Cisco, we're not making them switch their broadliner per se. So if they work with their local street rep, they get the product that they can get a manufactured rebate. That rebate, then 100% of that rebate goes directly to them. Is that fair to say?
Yes, yes, that's correct. We don't want to mess up the relationship with their reps that they have out there on the street. Normally they love their distributor. Obviously, they built a relationship on that level, and so we don't want to interfere with that. We're just taking a deeper dive and finding money from the actual origination of that box of chicken wings.
Yeah. And I love where you're going, Kat. And I think it's important to understand that, to go back to where we started, the difference between what we're doing here with our clients and what we're doing with, or what a GBO would do, would be the fact that a GBO would be hooked into a contract, and that contract might require the client to switch a specific vendor or a broadliner or what have you. Is that correct, Max?
You bet. And I want to be real clear that we'll never tell our clients what they can and cannot buy.
Absolutely.
They're responsible for what happens in their four walls. At the same time, if they're buying a product that we don't have a program on, and there's a very similar match program item, we'll show them that item, and just food for thought kind of thing. Hey, you're currently buying this to go container. We've got a really strong program with Dart, and take a look at these items and see if they make sense for you. And if you want to learn more, we can get samples, whatever. So at the end of the day, we're just trying to drive as much value for our clients.
And I think that's the part that Kat, you were trying to, you were making that point earlier. Clients right now are, rightly so, they're freaked out, right? We've had to pivot our businesses. They've had to turn around and try to figure out how they're going to extend their outdoor dining, how they're going to take what was normally inside the four walls of an experience and how to get that experience out to the guest. So we keep mentioning Dart. Let's talk a little bit about the Disposables program, why we did it, and what we're hoping to achieve there. Kat, you want to talk a little bit about how the Disposables are working into your conversations with our clients?
Yeah, Max, we started working on this pre-COVID. We knew the importance was there, of those types of products, basically because of the delivery, and all of the landscape there was changing already. Now we're in the thick of it, and it's more important now than ever to really drive the value in the packaging of those products. It's a really hot topic out there right now. So, Max has kind of flipped it on its head a little bit. Not only do we have a Dart product or our Dart program that's very strong, we're looking at even other ways to drive value in that space. And Max can talk a little bit more about the thing we're doing here in Colorado.
That's great. So Max, why don't we, and what I really like what you just said there at the end, Catherine, was what we're doing in Colorado, which indicates the fact that we can also create regional programs, correct, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Where there's a need, if it's something more specialty like produce or things like that, where it makes sense to have a local guy at GP service as well, using a national supplier, we can do regional programs just for certain geographic areas or groups.
So let's take a step back. We were speaking earlier about the wide swath of programs that we have. Max, how many programs do we have, and how many items does that cover for a specific client? What could they have access to?
Currently, we've got, I think, 56 manufacturer programs that cover want to say it's right around 10,000 items. And in any, in the rebates and that will vary by, by program. For instance, like on the to-go containers, there's 1,200 items that from Dart, and they're under the either Dart or Solo brand. And of those 1,200 items, 900 of them have an average rebate per case of over $10, and with some as high as $16+ per case.
So let's take a step back. So just so it's clear in my mind, a client is going to buy products no matter what, right? So if they're buying the products and we're providing them guidance on the products that they're currently buying or alternatives that might be a better quality product that carry a $10 per case rebate, why wouldn't they take advantage of trying to do this program? What's the catch? Where's the hook? Is there anything?
There's really no downside. They're not required to do anything. They're not, they're still completely in control of what they buy. It's just a matter of, sometimes it's a matter of whether the distributor has it in stock, especially in the area of disposables. The distributors would much rather sell their Cisco or US Foods labeled items, just because they've got back-end sheltered income built into those. So sometimes we've run into cases where, I know the item's in stock. It's because the manufacturer has, they delivered it to that facility. Mm-hmm. However, the distributor, does not, they'll lock the client's order guide down, so they can only see their Cisco label.
Well, and we all know why that's done, because the margin on a Cisco white label product, we keep saying Cisco, but let's be real here. The margin on any private label product is going to be far greater than it is on a branded product. But however, I think, Kat, would you agree that the demands of to-go packaging and delivery-based packaging are far greater now for quality than they've ever been in the past?
Yeah. Absolutely. Quality, as long as they can, get their product to the end user, the consumer, in a good way, everybody's all about that. It's obviously, their brand, they're protecting their brand.
I think
thinking about going from the guest experience in a restaurant where your staff, from the kitchen to the front of the house to the table, has complete control of that product.
I think
now in the delivery and takeout world, you don't have full control of the product. You've got more steps in there. So using the container or product that will give you the best chance of maintaining that consistency and giving your guest a consistent, high quality experience is more important now than it is it's ever been.
I think it's important for individuals to know that this behavior for most independent restaurants it's something that we all know should be done, but the overhead required to analyze the information, to be able to use that information to obtain quality products at a more aggressive price, Catherine, how many people do you think can actually pull that off in the middle of COVID, or even normally? How many people actually have that type of organized purchasing research at their disposal?
It doesn't exist. It doesn't. And, especially from an accounting company, that's the thing that people are like, okay, you do all these other things for me, and you're telling me you're going to help me out on this level, with the single operator, the mom and pop shop, or the group that has 2 or 3 stores. They've already laid off, a lot of their people, and they're struggling to survive. So the fact that we can do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes, it's just enormous. It's a tremendous asset, really, for our clients to have us. We've got their back.
It's the greatest. Kat, I don't know how we're going to top that, because that's exactly what we're trying to do here. The goal with this program when we began it was to take independent purchases from single units that were spread around the country, combine them so that we could see the aggregate spend on lifestyle items. And then Max, through your experience, and Catherine, through your experience, create these programs that are solely designed to provide options for our clients and allow them the opportunity to maintain their brands, to increase their purchasing power and what their rebates were, and also promote collaboration and flexibility within their street market. So this is a program that's actually designed to help deepen the engagement with the individuals that are working with the restaurateurs in their neighborhoods. Is that a fair summary of our purchasing program?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that, just a couple of items can really drive a lot of rebate dollars or savings for a client. We've got a restaurant in Chicago that on two disposable items, they earned enough last quarter to offset 96% of their RSI fees just on two items.
So when we look at two items, you're telling me that two items then yielded them, we could say roughly $700 a month in savings just on two items, correct? Well, I think that let me ask you a question this way. Kat, how do clients get started with you? Where do they go when they want to take advantage of this purchasing type program? How do they get an introduction? Give me the steps.
So it can vary. Sometimes during the training process when they're onboarding, we'll engage we'll be included in one of those conversations from the client advisors. They'll invite us,
Right.
kind of explain what we're up to and get the ball rolling there. It could be that I just randomly reach out to them. Maybe it's a client that's been with us a long time that may not be aware of what we've got going on. So it really kind of runs the gamut of how we get engaged with people. We're here to figure out any way we can to help.
What steps does a client have to take if they, you reach out to them, you talk about it, we determine, because it's important to note that clients that are currently in prime vendor agreements. So for example, what do we say, Max? 80% of their groceries are purchased by a broadliner and they are in a contract. They actually have a contract with that broadliner. If they're in there, why can't they take advantage of the manufacturer program? What happens in that situation?
They actually can. It's something we would want to at least look at their contract to make sure that they're not receiving monies from the manufacturers. Just because that's one thing that we've made a commitment to our manufacturer partners to ensure that they're not getting doubled. They're not getting billed twice for the same purchases. But just a preferred vendor agreement or distribution contract with a frontline distributor generally will not disqualify them from taking advantage of our programs. Those agreements generally handle just, okay, here's what it costs to move the boxes, right?
Right.
They don't go as deep as having a separate deal with the manufacturer.
So really simple for anybody listening or watching this. Our clients have to understand that there is nothing for them to do. Once we discuss it with them, we know the items that they're purchasing. We know the potential items they have savings on, right? The items that are matched up will automatically give them the manufacturer rebates associated with that item, right? And in addition, they don't have to worry or have to be concerned with whether they know they're in a program or they don't know they're in a program. That's something that we're going to do for them behind the scenes and help them make the decision that's right for them. So no matter what, they really do win. They either are validated on a current program or they have options for both off program and other types of programs like Cintas or some of our service-based programs that we have for them as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if they are part of another buying group, through the early conversations we have, we'll do a side-by-side comparison for them and just run that through the day. You'll allow them to make the best decision for their operation.
Perfect. So really what we're doing here with the program is, obviously this program started before COVID, but now, as we had mentioned before, if two items can get somebody back $700 and they didn't have to make any switches or any adjustments, or they did because the information was presented to them, there's really no reason not to do this, is there? All right. I think what we're going to do is, I think at this point, we look forward to having clients reach out to us. Kat, I appreciate your hard work and effort. Max, keep adding those programs, and we'll look forward to saving some people some money.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.